Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Movie Maker magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo. We're here at the South Park Center. I'm delighted to be reunited with V with their movie Iron Lung. Let's take a look at the clip.
And it is now 11 p.m. as we continue seeing record rainfall in the southern parts of New Mexico. Flash flood warnings will remain in effect throughout the night and possibly the early morning. We urge our listeners to shelter in place and not attempt to travel unless your life is in immediate danger, especially you folks getting to work with it down in Carlsbad. Emergency services will remain available but may be impacted by the storm. We will, of course, keep you updated throughout the night on all the latest events. And now, classic. Very good.
V, so happy to have you back at New Filmmakers. You're such a lovely member of the New Filmmakers LA family. So thank you for bringing more films to us.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love being here. Like, NFMLA, it's, like you said, it's just a really, really big family. And the way they celebrate diverse filmmakers and untold stories, I don't want to be anywhere else.
Oh, V, I'm so proud of you. And obviously, we follow each other on social media. I see all of your amazing accomplishments and everything that you stand for. I'm always just so lovely to know you as well as a human being. This is your third film with us?
Yes.
Goodness. So Iron Lung, this was such a powerful film. But for those that haven't seen it, tell us a brief synopsis.
Yes, basically it's when a storm knocks out the power to her iron lung, a polio survivor and her sister find themselves in a race against time to find a new way for her to breathe.
V, this is devastating, and I think one of the things that I'm so grateful that you made this film is because you really put in people in a situation of understanding of like those people that may go through a circumstance like this.
Yes.
It's extreme. Where did the inspiration come for you for making the story?
The inspiration basically came when I found out a little tidbit of info where the iron lungs, these machines that are kind of being phased out because there are more modern ventilators, they're not being upkept anymore by the manufacturer. Basically, anyone else that is still using an iron lung because either they can't use one of the modern machines or because they've used them all their life,
Yeah.
and they want to keep using the machine, the manufacturer won't perform maintenance on it. So it's
Wow.
up to them to keep the machine running even if their lives depend on it.
That's insane.
Yeah, so that's basically where the idea came from. What if you have someone whose machine breaks down and then you have the sister who's been taking care of them for most of their life and now they need to figure out a new way for her to breathe.
Yeah.
So that was really the origin of the idea.
I mean, you know, we're living in a country and a part of the world where natural disasters happen every day. You know, I mean, this is not something that should be unusual. So to hear that information is really sad because, you know, these are people that are suffering. The stakes were high, obviously, in this with the storm and everything else. Your actors, oh my goodness me. Like, tell us a little about how you brought these sisters together. Like, my goodness.
Oh my God. Well, obviously I didn't have a lot of look into the casting process,
Yeah.
but I can tell you that Veronica and Tanya they're both amazing. Just seeing them perform and the chemistry they had together, we keep getting so many comments from them, from everyone who watches the movies, the film, and I think Tanya might be here today at the screening.
Oh,
I was
nice.
just talking to her, but it's really, really powerful the way each of them portrayed the sisters, and what is really more of a nuanced look into the caretaker-charge relationship.
Yeah.
Because many times it's cast in a certain light of responsibility or of burden, but it's so much more nuanced and complex than we see. And that's part of what Andrew and I wanted to explore in this short.
I mean, this is emotional to watch. You know, it's not just logistics here. There's the emotional. I'm convinced they're sisters, by the way. I'm not. I don't tell me any different. Like, they really, honestly felt like they knew each other their whole lives. You know, it was really powerful.
The bickering.
Yeah, everything, the bickering, everything a siblingship should be, right? But like, my goodness me, how was it with this particular film? Because obviously you also had to simulate this whole machine. as well. Like how the production design was really good. You obviously had to create this environment of a storm. Like how was the whole taking itself out? How was the whole production? How did that kind of work out for you? Really good people involved, I'm sure.
Yes, amazing. And well, part of the reason why I collaborated with Andrew again, aside from the fact that this is our third collaboration.
Third, wow.
Our third
You're
collaboration.
a family now.
Yeah, exactly, because we just are a really great creative team.
Yeah.
But aside from that, like additionally, as you know, Andrew lives with a spinal cord injury, so
Yeah.
he's part of the disabled community.
Yeah.
So making a story like this, he was able to bring an amount of nuance that I was not be able to bring to the table.
Yeah.
Not only that, but where I'm going is that going back to the question with the production, Andrew reached out to the community, and we were able to find actually a real iron lung.
Wow.
Like this, I took a photo of it, but the iron lung had a plaque that said 1954.
Wow.
This is an actual original iron lung that still works.
Wow.
And we got that through outreach to the community, and it's something just completely outside of the experience we have nowadays in certain ways. I got inside the machine also as research. And what I say that in certain ways it's so far removed from our lives nowadays is because on the other side of that, polio is making a comeback because people aren't vaccinating.
Wow.
So even though the iron lung as such, which was so, I guess, iconic of the polio epidemic, wouldn't make a comeback, polio is making a comeback, and other ventilators will need to be used because people aren't vaccinated.
You know, it's so interesting. My next question for you, V, was just, you know, because I know that in your, you know, as a filmmaker, but also as a human being, you're such a wonderful activist in so many areas, you know, of just bringing the world closer together, you know, educating people, and I really appreciate that about what you stand for. And I'm curious about, for this film, obviously you took this piece of information and turned it into a film. Like, how do you want your audience to experience your film? Like, what do you want them to take from it?
Yes, that's a really great question, and I have three different things.
I love it.
I'll be brief.
No, you take it to
Well, the first thing is kind of what we just talked about. Basically, this is what polio looks like. Polio is not something from the past that we forget about, that it's done and over with. More specifically in the film, this was post-polio syndrome, where after having lived with the consequences of polio, which, just to briefly, polio attacks the motor neurons that control certain functions. So the remaining neurons are overworked and overtaxed. So post-polio is when those neurons burn out and pretty much things get worse. So polio isn't that far away from our lives. It's making a comeback. We still need to be vaccinating because it's a very real and very life-changing disease. The second thing I really want the audience to get out of this is sort of to really look a little deeper into the relationship between the caretaker and the charge, which kind of mentioned before. There's a lot of layers and a lot of nuance to a relationship like that. It's not as straightforward as someone outside the disabled community would think. And there's a lot that goes on, especially when they're family. There's feelings of guilt, feelings of responsibility, feelings of, oh my God, are they living a full life or not? And there are a lot of misconceptions that Andrew and I really wanted to clear. And we hope that this short does some of that. And the third and last thing I want the audience to get away from this, to get out of this, is look, this is a contained survival thriller, but the leads are both Latinas. And many times when people see like, oh, it's a Latinx story, they're expecting like immigration or things like that. And it's like, no, like these are also our stories. Our stories can also be a story about disability. It can also be a story about sisters bickering. Our Latinhood doesn't have to be front and center. It's just part of who we are, and it informs us, and in a narrative, it would inform the character. but our stories shouldn't be restricted or limited to Latinx stories or
Yep.
stories about immigration.
Yep.
So this was just Andrew and I's way of saying, look, this is a contained survival thriller. It's commercial AF. Like,
Yeah.
this is a really fun film that also does other things, and it's also a Latinx film.
Yep. Yep.
This is what we're capable of. We're here. Hire us.
Yes.
So-
You hear that? Higher, 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 higher. V, you're always moving the needle forward. I love it in filmmaking. Like, I'm so glad you're a filmmaker because, oh my goodness, I never know where you're gonna take us though. You always take us on some kind of journey where I'm holding my breath. Okay, which is well done to you.
Yeah.
Okay, dare I ask you? I know you're about to go up on the stage and get applauded by a whole array of people, which I can't wait for. But I'm gonna let you go in a second. But finally, what is obviously you're going to take on this on a great festival run. What is next? What is next? What is next on
Yes.
the mind right now for you? B?
So Andrew and I have already developed a feature version of Iron Lung, and we're in the process of taking it out. And we specifically focused on, look, again, this is contained survival thriller, meaning in producer speak, low budget,
Yeah.
high return. And it also just has everything that we wanted the short to have, but just more. And we have a chance to explore it deeper, to just parse it more, and to just add more shades.
Wow.
And that is what's next with Iron Lung. Aside from that, I do have another short in the festival circuit. That one is called Carnívora, which is carnivore in Spanish. And it's also a Latin forward horror. And I'm also kind of developing a feature version of that one to start taking out. So that's kind of what's going on my end right now.
Super proud of you. Super proud of you. Give our love to Andrew because I know he's very much the co-brilliance of both of
Yes.
you. But thank you so much, V. I am so proud. We're so excited to have you back at New Filmmakers LA. Enjoy today.
Thank you.
And thank you for sharing your film. And if you've got big blank checks and want to fund these next films, there could be no better person than V to give it to, okay? All right. Take care, everybody. Thank you very much. V, everyone.